A jeweler decided to take his son and a chest of jewels to the South Seas for business. For safety, they rented a large ship. One night, the son got up and, while passing by the sailors' quarters, overheard a hushed conversation. Curious, he leaned closer and was shocked to hear that the sailors were plotting to kill him and his father to steal their valuable chest of jewels. Startled, he rushed back to his room to wake his father and asked what they should do. "What do you think we should do?" the merchant asked his son. "Be ready to fight them anytime," the hot-headed son replied through gritted teeth. "No," the merchant said decisively, "if we fight, not only will they rob us, but they will also surely kill us." "Do you mean to hand over the jewels to them?" the son asked anxiously. "That's not an option either," the merchant replied thoughtfully. "If we give them the jewels, they will still kill us to eliminate any witnesses. Then what should we do?" "It seems we are doomed," the son said in despair. "Not necessarily. We can do this." The merchant leaned close to his son's ear and whispered his plan. The son nodded in agreement. Shortly after, the angry merchant dragged his son onto the deck, shouting orders for him to kneel. He loudly scolded his son, "You idiot! How could you ignore my advice?" The son, instead of kneeling, pushed his father and retorted disdainfully, "Old fool, what advice of yours has ever been useful? It's all nonsense." By this time, the sailors had been awakened by the commotion and gathered around the merchant and his son. The merchant stormed into their cabin, retrieved the chest of jewels, and brought it out. "Since you don't acknowledge me as your father, there's no need for me to work so hard for you. You can forget about getting my wealth," he yelled. With that, he began throwing handfuls of jewels into the sea. As the sailors realized that the merchant was throwing away the very treasure they coveted, the merchant suddenly lifted the entire chest and hurled it into the sea. The sailors let out a collective groan of regret. Then the merchant furiously ordered the sailors, "Turn the ship around immediately. I no longer need to go to the South Seas." Terrified, the sailors quickly set sail back home. As soon as they reached the port, the merchant and his son hurried to the local court to accuse the sailors of piracy and attempted murder. When the captured sailors protested their innocence, the judge asked them, "Did you see the merchant throw his jewels into the sea?" "Yes," the sailors answered in unison. What could make a man abandon his life savings? Only the threat of losing his life, the wise judge said. The sailors, speechless, had no choice but to confess their crime and voluntarily compensate the merchant for his loss. The judge, in turn, showed leniency and spared their lives.